Hello! おはようございます. So today I am gonna head to the Tokyo Science Museum. And before that, I thought I would just make a quick one while I have my coffee. Talking about this book that I just bought yesterday at the Japanese bookstore. I've always wanted to read like an actual Japanese book, but this one caught my eye. So it says 男女の心理学, which is basically just the psychology of men and women and the differences, I suppose. And everyone knows, right? Men and women think differently. Well, most people know, I suppose. Well, now you know. Yeah. So men and women think differently, and which is why there's so much conflict in relationships all the time, right? Because we don't understand each other. That's the common belief, anyway. And there's a reason for this. It's because men have been, well, since like the ancient days, where men are supposed to hunt, whereas the women are supposed to stay in the tribe, take care of the children, pick berries, pick wild berries, prepare food. Well, actually, no, the men were the ones who prepared food because the men were the ones who had to set the fire and stuff like that, right? Maybe that's why there's so many chefs, like professional chefs who are men. Anyway, so men tend to rely on their left brain more, which is more of the problem-solving part. The one that comes up with solutions to problems and comes up with conclusions, things like that. Math, I suppose, yeah. And whereas women, they rely on the right part of the brain, which is more of the emotional part. That relies on hormones and stuff like that, that regulates your emotions. And yeah, which is why, like, men tend to be more, like, what do you call it? Like, women can multitask better than men. That's a generalization, right? Like, women can like cook while they sing or like yell at their kids to come for dinner, that kind of thing. Whereas guys, when they're like really into something, when they're concentrating on something, let's say they're watching a game on the television, or when they're at work, it's like they can't function in any other area. It's just that one thing. Most of the time, anyway. But yeah, so it makes sense, right? And that's the generalization, that women and men think differently because we use different part of the brains. So, yeah. Hold on. Yeah, and also men had to like kill animals and stuff. Had to like plan maps, like strategize, which is the best way to kill what animal. And on top of that, they had to compete with other men, like for the hierarchy thing, like who's more dominant and stuff, who gets the bigger share of the food, who gets the better women, who gets the hotter ones, right? Yeah, and then the women, whereas the women had to regulate their emotions to be able to coexist peacefully with like the other women in the tribe, because they were mostly together, right, most of the time. And yeah, they had to help out each other with picking berries and stuff, I suppose. Right. Hey, I know this really good spot that has like 5% off. Not 5, like that has like extra sweet berries, I suppose. Yeah. So I can imagine it was like that back then. But of course, nowadays there are certain men who rely more on their right brain, which is the emotional part, than their left brain, and vice versa for women as well. Like, there's so many people in the world, right? There's all sorts of people in the world nowadays. So it's only normal that some of us would tend to skew to the other side eventually. So yeah, and the interesting thing, well, back to my main point, which is the interesting thing that I learned from the interesting and new thing that I learned from this book was that you can apparently tell which brain you rely more on just based on like the length of your index finger and your ring finger. Like if you compare them and see, I'm not gonna show you mine. Like if you compare them and see if your index finger, if your ring finger is longer than your index finger, or yeah, if your ring finger is longer than your index finger, then you tend to be more right brain dominant. Yeah, so you would be more of like a problem solver kind of person. Whereas if it's the other way around, if your index is longer than your ring finger, then yeah, you tend to be more of an emotional person. And yeah, so check it out. And yeah, so if your index finger, well, that being said, if your index finger, if you're more of either one is fine, okay? I'm not saying which one is bad or which one is good, right? You can be a guy or you can be a girl who favors the right brain or left brain. It doesn't matter, okay? What matters is, yeah, that you're aware of it, right? Because being aware of it gives you more control over it. And yeah, so yes, if you're dominant, if you're right brain dominant, then one can probably assume that you are probably pretty bad at interpreting ambiguous text messages, right? With hidden emotions inside. Or you are probably uncomfortable with dealing with emotions, stuff like that, right? And you do it via distractions, like you distract yourself when you feel your emotions coming up. Kind of like how men just suppress their emotions, right? Just through work or like drinking, hang out with friends. Yeah. Now you're probably wondering why. Never mind. So, yeah. Never mind. Anyway, that's pretty much what I wanted to share. Probably should elaborate more in the next video. I feel like it's a bit too short, or maybe it's too long. Was it boring? God, I'm so insecure. Okay. Yeah. Anyway, my coffee is almost done, so I gotta go soon. Hope you found this enlightening. And yeah, if you want to leave a comment about if you're left or right brain dominant, feel free to. And I'll definitely reply you soon. Bye.